Welcome back, CruiseHols, or hello if you're new to this channel, where in this video I take you through what I believe to be the top 10 Stavanger Shore Excursions. Stavanger is one of the largest cities in Norway, but it never quite feels like it when you visit there, as you dock in the heart of the city centre and can easily explore on foot. But the surrounding area has lots to offer, and that means plenty will look to do shore excursions when there, and that's just what I look at in this list. So if that sounds of interest to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Darren, and this is my top 10 Stavanger Shore Excursions. As I mentioned in the intro, Stavanger is easy to explore on your own. It's mostly flat, and it's almost like the city planners were expecting cruise ships to drop off thousands of explorers in their main harbour. That is because the centre is split into 4 separate areas from a visitor's point of view. The bike-parking area, the shopping district, the UNESCO listed gamble district, and then the Viking harbour district, which is where you dock, and that sits right in the middle of the other districts. What you do miss out on from walking around the city on your own, unless you're like me and do plenty of research before you go, is understanding just what you're looking at. To gain that understanding of the history of the buildings and the streets you stroll around, why not simply take a guided tour where a local expert shows you the best of Stavanger and gives you all of the fascinating history of this beautiful city. If you have an interest in the history of Norway, the chances are that you will have an interest in the Vikings, and with intrigue increasing recently due to films and television programmes somewhat glamorising those marauders.
Hey everybody, it's Leif Erikson Day! Hinga-dinga-durgan!
The Vikings have probably never been as popular. If you want to gain a more authentic look at the Vikings, a visit to an historic Viking farm is a great way to do just that. Experience the home life of Viking warriors and hear the stories of knowledgeable locals about the real life of Vikings. Stavanger is a great city and somewhere I love to visit, but it is also somewhere I have covered all that is available in the city centre. So the last time I visited there, I headed off to the outskirts of town. I did this via public transport, but if you prefer to have everything organised for you, most cruise lines and local excursion companies will offer organised coach tours of the surrounding villages and the beautiful coast and beaches surrounding Stavanger itself. This one's a staple of these sorts of lists for me, and it's for good reason, as it remains one of the better ways to see a destination that you dock at. In Stavanger, hop on hop off buses start from near where you dock, and whilst they are limited in where they can visit in the centre itself, they do take you around the outskirts of the city and give you a much better overview of the immediate region around the centre. As ever, you get an audio guided tour giving you a brief history of what you are looking at, and you can jump on and off as many times as you want to explore what you want to explore. Whilst it is easy to book these buses for yourself, either when you arrive in the city or online before you get there, but sometimes you just want to use your onboard credit or loyalty discount, and many lines offer them as a bookable excursion. If you have a head for heights and want to take the perfect Instagrammable photo, this is the perfect spot to head for. After taking a coach ride along the beautiful Lysefjord, you will need to hike up to the edge of a cliff, but when you get there you're met by incredible views, an element of danger, and the chance to stand on the Kjeragbolten rock, a glacial deposit wedged in a crevice. The Pulpit Rock, or Preikestolen in Norwegian, is a highlight of any trip to Stavanger and one of the most recognisable tourist attractions in Norway. Sitting just over 600 metres above the beautiful Lysefjord, the Pulpit Rock is a flat top of a cliff that is around 25 by 25 metres in size, and it offers an almost vertical view back down to the foot of the cliff and the fjord below you. No fences or other safety features, visitors can get as close as they dare to the edge, with some going further as it is a popular spot for daredevil base jumpers. There is so much to see in the region around Stavanger, including lakes, glaciers, waterfalls, fjords, cliffs and more, but one of the biggest issues is the time it takes to get to all of them, with only limited roads in the region. One way you can see everything on offer without all of that travelling is to take to the skies and fly over it all in a helicopter, although this is one for those with a bigger budget. Setting off just a short stroll from where your cruise ship docks, visitors can head out on a rib boat into the nearby fjord and cruise around the many islands that can be found around the city. These are home to lots of wildlife, including seabirds and seals, whilst the sea around the city is home to many species of whales, including mink and humpback whales. And whilst it can be sometimes possible to see orcas, you'll really need to be lucky for that. Stavanger sits at the head of the idyllic Lysefjord, one of Norway's most beautiful and home to the Pulpit Rock as mentioned previously. After setting sail from next to your cruise ship, you can head out to the fjord, going past bridges and rocky islands, before cruising down the fjord itself, an incredible view of the massive cliffs, waterfalls and wildlife found along the fjord. This is one of the iconic images of the city, but it's sadly too far of a walk from where you dock, so if you want to visit Norway's most famous sculpture, you will need some sort of transport. This is my number one pick, as it was the excursion I did last time I visited the city, but that's not strictly true as mentioned previously, as I did it myself on the public bus. That can be easily achieved by simply walking to the bus station and taking the bus that drops you off right next to the Swords and Rock sculpture. Of course, most will prefer to go on an organised trip, and just about every cruise line will take you to the outskirts of the city, to the neighbourhood of Madia, where the impressive Lysefjord sculpture can be found. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the top 10 Stavanger Shore Excursions, and all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.